In the summer of 1944, 2 months after I arrived in New Guinea, I was notified that I had been selected for detached service with the 40th Infantry Division at Cape Gloucester on the western end of New Britain. New Britain was located just east of New Guinea. The Army had established an airstrip, base camp, and station hospital at Cape Gloucester. At this time, the active combat on New Britain was on the eastern end of the island, around the remaining Japanese stronghold of Rabaul. My assignment would be with the 40th Headquarters, and I would be working at the 251st Station Hospital. I was informed that this was a temporary arrangement. The 40th Infantry Division is known as Sunshine Division, being originally formed from National Guard units of a number of western states. Note the sun on their unit patch shown on this slide. I am standing next to the small two-seat Piper high-wing airplane that transported me from Hollandia part of the way on my journey to Cape Gloucester. Here we landed for a quick fuel stop. Several fuel stops were necessary for the trip, which included boarding a ship for the final leg of the journey. A number of these planes were assigned to division artillery battalions for use as spotters. When not being used for that purpose, the divisions used the planes as flying jeeps. Because of their small size, the troops referred to them as puddle jumpers or grasshoppers. In the background, you can see the Owen Stanley mountain range. This map shows the direction my flight would be taking east to Cape Gloucester, along the New Guinea northern coast. I snapped this photo looking south out the plane's window. The Owen Stanley mountain range can be seen in the distance. This range extends across the center of New Guinea. Much of this rugged jungle terrain had never been explored. A few more views from the plane follow. This base at Cape Gloucester on New Britain would be my temporary home for the next 2 months. You can see the volcano, Mount Tolowi, some distance away in the background. This map shows the relative distance of Cape Gloucester from the Mount Tolowi volcano. These are my parents, Dr. Erastus R. and Sarah G. Rhein. Like me, my dad was a dentist in Harrisburg. I wrote to them during the war and received mail from them. 2 of the letters that I wrote to them while on detached service with the 40th Infantry Division in Cape Gloucester survived. Thursday, August 24, 1944, with the 40th Infantry Division, Cape Gloucester, New Britain. Dear Father and Mother, I am comfortably located somewhere in New Britain. Everything is moving along fine, and so far I am particularly fond of it here. I'm assigned with the 40th and its headquarters. So far there is 1 extra dentist with the division. Consequently, they are placing me on DS, detached service. That means they use me where they want to. I hope I can remain with headquarters. Nevertheless, there is a catch. While temporarily assigned with DS, one cannot get a promotion. On the other hand, I would sign for the duration in this capacity of this job, for there are many conveniences. My tent is comfortable, electric lights, wooden floor, toilet and shower close at hand. The meals are exceptionally good. That is generally true about headquarters. In short, if I could remain with headquarters, it certainly would be a break. Yesterday, 2 packages came from home, all mailed to APO 40 and during July. One was from Isabel. It contained crackers. I appreciated it very much. The other was a can of dried beef. I was sorry to note that it was beginning to spoil, no doubt the heat during shipment. If you recall, the previous dried beef that I received was sent early in spring and also was delivered to me the first day on the boat. Today I received 2 boxes from Wilma. One contained caramels and the other razor blades, cigarette holder and filter, and canned lobster. Forgot to mention that I'm working in a station hospital approximately 1 mile from here. I ride to and from by Jeep. We start at 8 in the morning, stop at 11:30, eat lunch, start again in the afternoon about 1:30, and quit at 3. We also have Friday afternoon and Saturday afternoon off, and all day Sunday. This country is slightly different than New Guinea. Very few coconut trees about, but in place are many high hardwoods, such as mahogany. For example, our dining tables are made from this wood. A large volcano is located some distance from camp. It steams very slightly, but never caused any damage. In fact, nothing comes out. Butterflies are rather scarce, especially in these parts, but there are some about. I would like to request an item for my camera, but I'm afraid it may mix things up. Wilma has a small viewer that I obtained on the West Coast for looking at Kodachrome slides. I could use one over here, provided someone could purchase another. I would not want Wilma to send the one at home. It's a cheap appliance costing $1 or so. Maybe Let's would have one. The slide is merely illuminated by holding it to an electric light or the sky. I'm asking you folks about this, for I do not know if Wilma could get one in Texas. Nevertheless, I intend to ask her too. Also Bill Epley of Carlisle. These gadgets are rare. Consequently, I'm requesting from the 3 parties. Today I received a Pennsylvania bulletin from Dr. Champlain concerning butterflies. Guess that sums up the present news. Have been feeling fine and getting much rest. Love, Bill. Here are a few of the many colorful butterflies I encountered on New Guinea. I made my own butterfly net using some mosquito netting and wire fastened to a bamboo pole. I preserved the butterflies and carefully packed them in sturdy boxes to ship home. Miraculously, they all made it back okay. After the war, I pinned and mounted them. The green birdwing seen on the left is quite large for a butterfly. Its wingspan is 6 to 8 inches. Here's a view of the 251st Station Hospital where I worked on detached service, and the bivouac area for the 40th Infantry Division. Here are some photos of me, then an Army lieutenant, at the edge of a jungle swamp located near the base in New Britain. I was fascinated by the lush jungle vegetation. Look at the size of the leaves on the giant taro plant behind me in the photo on the left. I should note the taro leaf was selected for the 24th Infantry Division's unit emblem. The liana vine is found in tropical rainforests. It is rooted in the soil, but uses trees for mechanical support to extend into the upper forest canopy. Here, soldiers stand next to a dal tree with enormous buttress roots. These trees are also known as the New Guinea walnut. They grow in tropical rainforests and have shallow root systems. They grow tall with no branches. At the top, they have a canopy of long fronds and produce large round fruit that is a favorite of fruit bats. The trees are native to New Guinea and the Philippines. September 1st, 1944, with the 40th Infantry Division, Cape Gloucester, New Britain. Dear Father and Mother, here it is, September 1st. Time certainly is flying by rapidly. Today our clocks were set back 1 hour. Spring, or summer, is supposedly commencing over here. Don't see how they tell the difference. All days are summer in the tropics, though recently the sun sets later. This evening it was practically dark at supper time. Right now the movie out back is slightly distracting me from writing. Every now and then I pick up the binoculars and take a look. I've seen it before, Mickey Rooney and Girl Crazy. Outdoor theater is about 300 yards from my back tent. I still have the field glasses with me. Believe Dad bought them many years ago. I believe when Charles and I first went to YMCA camp at Shikellamy. Last several days I've been receiving quite a few letters from Mother. In fact, 7 to be exact. Enjoyed reading them very much. The newspaper clippings too. In referring to the paper clippings, I'm sorry to hear they're going ahead with the plans of a highway through Wildwood Park and drainage of the lake. It makes me boil to think of it. If I were home, I indeed would call Leitner of the Park Commission and tell him plenty. That's the last spot around Harrisburg that is untouched by civilization. It harbors and protects many migratory birds, both in spring and fall. Even in winter, deer come down from the First Mountain Lick. Ralph and I have seen them many times. Many other things of interest are to be found there too, wildflowers and fish in the lake. Many small kids enjoy fishing during the summer months. Nevertheless, Leitner and the rest of the ludicrous politicians say they're going to beautify the park and bring in benches, just another spot for narrow-minded people to wipe out. Mother, you referred to Dick Rauch and Ed Fry visiting the duck hawk that made its eyrie on the cross. Odd part is that the falcon belongs up on some precipitous rocky ledge, far from city folks. You also spoke of the hawk and its young in the yard. I presume they were nighthawks. Actually, they were not hawks, but swifts, being closely related to the chimney swifts. Your mail is arriving in good time. Yesterday I received one that was mailed August 21st. One of Wilma's V-mail letters came here in 9 days. Packages are coming in. Majority were mailed in July, addressed to APO 40. Yes, I evidently made a mistake in one of the return addresses, Mother. Proper one is Headquarters 40th Infantry Division, APO 40. Majority of packages so far have been from Wilma. In reference to film, I'll tell Wilma to reimburse Dad for them. Also, in regards to taping film, Mother, you wrote of taping the box. I had in mind taping the little yellow can containing the film proper, which is inside of the cardboard box. Here at New Britain, shells seem to be rather scarce when compared to Milne Bay, or rather, I have not been able to visit the native villages as yet, where one is able to pick up the best. Natives have a dance or festival called a sing-sing. During this hilarious grouping or assemblage, the participants are painted with many gay colors and ornamented by flowers. The ceremony continues all day. I hope to be able to visit one of these in the future and obtain some pictures. This afternoon I received 2 reels of developed film from Australia. When more arrive, I'll send them home. I've received my telephoto lens from Dr. Gordon in Oregon. When my reflex housing comes from Wilma, I'll be able to use the lens. Our meals have been very good, and I enjoy them. This is quite different from what I previously had since leaving the States. If you care to send me anything, I would appreciate some form of nuts and caramels in cans. I have a good supply of hard candy. Wilma sent a tasty can of caramels. I can always use film and lobster meat. Fortunately, canned fruit is served at our mess. The other day we had fresh roast beef, mashed potatoes, peas, cherry pie, and ice cream. It was good. The above requests are not urgent. Speaking of the highway through the farm, I would hold on to all the land, as much as possible. It will not be too long when money is worthless and land will be paramount. I doubt if they ever intend to pay off the war debt. Furthermore, it will be a short time when people will be moving out past the club. Then, Mother, you can sell the lots yourself if money is still good. My advice is don't sell, providing you can pay the taxes and break even at present. I received the pictures of you two and Miriam and have them placed on my writing table. Both of you look the same. Could not tell from the picture that Dad had another birthday, and Miriam is still sweet. 5 minutes after I displayed the pictures, a fellow walked in and inquired of the good-looking girl. Dad, I never knew you had a birthday on the 28th of August. I can remember some time back when I asked you the date and you said you lost track of it. Anyway, congratulations and many more. Guess I don't know when Mother's is either. Must be a poor birthday guy. Mother, you asked about movies over here. Last month I did see Going My Way. It was very good. Enjoyed seeing the priest eat the turkey. The same man, actor Barry Fitzgerald, played in Corvette K225, a good show that pertained to the Merchant Marines. I enjoyed Charles's sketch of Gretchen and the watermelon tree. Does she like watermelons? Also glad to know that Charles and Mary have joined the club. They should have some good times there. My work is coming along fine. Recently I've been inserting in gold inlays, amalgams, and doing extractions. Our working hours are short. Butterflies are rather scarce here, but this afternoon I enjoyed sitting down near the beach in a glen. I saw my first big lizard climbing a tree. He was 4 or 5 feet long. Also noted many birds. Guess that sums up the news. Must go to bed. It's 9:30. Love, Bill. Here is one of the native birds. This is a sulfur-crested cockatoo I photographed while in New Guinea. The bird is perched on the hand of a native. After the combat phase, during the months we were in New Guinea, some soldiers captured these birds while young and in their nests. With proper food, they grew to mature size and attracted much attention. In my letter, I mentioned the nice seashells that can be found in Milne Bay. Milne Bay is in the southern portion of the east coast of New Guinea. General MacArthur had his headquarters there for a period of time. There was a base of supplies and a medical facility established at Milne Bay. I spent some time there when I first arrived in New Guinea, and later had occasion to travel there while the unit was still in New Guinea following the Hollandia invasion. During that time, I was able to pick up some unique seashells. As a side note, I wanted to mention an event that occurred on the day after I wrote my letter. This event, much like the sinking of the PT-109, was only a footnote in history at the time. It was on Saturday, September 2nd, 1944, that the Navy submarine USS Finback rescued the pilot of an Avenger torpedo bomber, which was hit while bombing a radio tower on the Japanese island of Chichijima. That Navy aviator was 20-year-old Lieutenant J.G. George H. W. Bush, the future 41st U.S. President. Bush guided his crippled plane away from the island where he parachuted into the water. He managed to survive in his inflatable life raft for several hours until being rescued by the submarine. Bush's 2 crewmates did not survive. While I was still in New Guinea, a tragic incident of war occurred. Details of the incident were not made public at the time. It was only after the war that they were revealed. On September 7, 1944, the submarine USS Paddle torpedoed and sank the Japanese merchant vessel Shinyu Maru 3 miles off the Sindangan Point on the west coast of Mindanao, Philippines. Intercepted communications had reported the ship to be carrying Japanese soldiers, and Paddle was assigned to look for it. The intelligence had been faulty, and in reality, Shinyu Maru was carrying 750 Allied prisoners of war. 668 of them were killed by the torpedo impact and by their Japanese captors during the melee. 83 miraculously made it to shore and were aided by Filipino guerrillas. Those who survived were later rescued by another U.S. submarine that was dispatched to pick them up. The crew of the Paddle was not notified that Allied prisoners were on board the Shinyu Maru until 1946. In the lower right corner of this slide is a letter from the War Department to a loved one of one of the missing soldiers from this incident. The letter ends this way: "It is with deep regret that I must notify you of this unhappy culmination of the long period of anxiety and suffering you have experienced. You have my heartfelt sympathy." This treasured letter was kept safe for many years and was found by the recipient's daughter after her mother's death. I'm telling this nightmarish story to put emphasis on the crushing weight of suffering that was borne by the civilian population each day during the war as they hoped for the safe return of their family members and friends who were serving in harm's way, not to mention the suffering of the crew of the USS Paddle when they learned of this. Sadly, war is full of tragic events like this one. New Guinea and New Britain are the largest of a group of islands referred to as Melanesia. Goodenough Island, where I received training for amphibious landings, is part of Melanesia. The word is derived from the Greek melos, meaning black. The natives are of basic Negroid stock, forming the Melanesian race. The Melanesians include some of the most feared headhunters, as well as tribes known for their craftsmanship in making ceremonial houses, masks, and wood carvings. Physically, the Melanesians vary from island to island, although they are generally characterized by dark skin and frizzy hair. I encountered many of these people on New Guinea and New Britain. Some of my photos of them and their villages are included in the following slides. That's me in the center of the canoe. These Papuan natives gave me a ride in their handmade canoe during a break in the training on Goodenough Island. You can see one of our landing craft pulled up to the beach in the background on the left.